Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to a special recap of the classic 2006 film The Last King of Scotland. The movie begins with Nicholas and his friends celebrating as they had just graduated from medical school in Scotland. During dinner, he celebrated with his family in a warm atmosphere. He was carefree and also seeking adventure, which led him to randomly spin a globe and decide to go wherever his finger lands. His finger landed at Uganda, so he decided to move there and work as a doctor. On his way, he saw some soldiers. He asked a lady named Tolu what all the soldiers are for. The lady tells him that there is a coup and they are General Amin's men. She tells him there is nothing to worry about, then goes ahead to explain how happy the people are because of the new president in power. Tolu asked what he did in Scotland. He replied saying he is a qualified doctor and thought he could use his skills here. From there, they began chatting like old friends. Nicholas arrived at the bus station in the night and met David's wife, Sarah. She explained that David wasn't available at the moment because he had an emergency. On their way home, Sarah told him that she and her husband have been waiting for him since yesterday and goes on to tell him what is presently going on in the country. The next day, Nicholas finally meets David, who shows him around the hospital. Unfortunately, the only doctor available for the locals is just David. So, David is glad someone had come to join him. Soon after, Nicholas started to work alongside David, which was really stressful for him because of the workload. Regardless, Nicholas still wants to make a difference and also have fun with a bit of adventure. He saw how happy the villagers are because the new president, Idi Amin, is coming to visit the village. Then he goes ahead to convince Sarah to join him in attending the occasion. She was reluctant but later gave in. As the people chant, the president came up to the stage and gave a speech on how his government will be like. His words filled the hearts of the people with joy and they rejoiced. Sarah, on the other hand, doesn't believe all the president's promises. She claimed that was the same way the ex-president Obote made promises and ended up embezzling the country's money. But Nicholas thinks Amin will be different. Amin's soldiers suddenly stopped them and told them the president had been hurt in an accident. They followed them to where the incident took place. Nicholas examined the president but could not concentrate because of the noise coming from a cow. He tells the president that his hand has just been sprained, not broken. Immediately he was done with the treatment, he took the president's gun and shot the cow dead out of frustration. The president was surprised about his action and asked who he is. He introduced himself and made it clear he was Scottish. On hearing that, the president was happy to meet a Scots citizen and thanked him for the treatment. Out of joy, Amin asked Nicholas to trade shirts with him for his son. At night, Nicholas confessed his feelings to Sarah, but she made it clear to him that she couldn't cheat on her husband. The next day, President Amin sent the Minister of Health, Jonah Waswa, to bring Nicholas to him. He wanted Nicholas to be his personal physician. At first, he declined because of Sarah and used his commitment to the mission in Mogambo as an excuse. As a thank you for treating his hand, the president extended his invitation of a state dinner to Nicholas and took him shopping for the upcoming events. On the other hand, Amin had been capturing and killing Obote's men ever since he became president. He claims they are after him and want him dead. Nicholas arrives at the state dinner and is welcomed by the president, who introduced him to his wives, the British High Commissioner, Mr. Perkins, and his colleague, Mr. Stone, who Nicholas met at the designer shop where he got his suit for the events. The president walks away to give a speech to his guests and the rest of the dinner went on well. In the next scene, Masanga, who drove Nicholas to the president, informed Nicholas that the president was very sick. He went to the president's room, examined the president quickly, and treated him. He told him not to mix aspirant and beer next time because they were the cause of the sickness. Nicholas decides to accept the job offer of becoming the president's personal doctor and inform Sarah about it since he will have to quit from the mission in Magambo. Sarah was disappointed and she knew David will also be disappointed. Later on, Jonah took Nicholas to the hospital and gave him a tour. During the tour, they met Dr. Junju, who is the previous personal doctor for the president. As Jonah walked away to attend to other things, Mr. Stone approaches Nicholas and told him to stay in touch in case he needs anything. Nicholas and the president became so close that the president trusts him enough to represent him in a meeting he won't be able to attend. Amin made him and Jonah his close advisors. The next morning, the president came in person to thank Nicholas for treating his son and gifted him a car. Nicholas was happy and grateful, but the president insisted he drives him to the airport with his new car. On their way to the airport, they were ambushed. Luckily, the president was able to escape the ambush because he wasn't in his car. Amin claimed they were Abute's men and felt someone is betraying him. He didn't feel safe anymore, which led him to appoint Masanga to handle all his security matters from that moment. Later on, Amin was informed that the men who ambushed him had been caught and went to see them. Nicholas went to the Holiday Inn to clear his head from the day's stress. Then he saw Jonah talking to a white guy at the bar. This made Nicholas suspicious of him. The next day, he informed the president of what he saw and told him it was probably nothing, but he might want to have a talk with him. It was another bright and sunny day, so Nicholas went to the pool. He saw Kay and Mackenzie and how better Mackenzie is doing. Mr. Stone read an article about the disappearance of people. Then he approached Nicholas. He told Nicholas how suspicious he is of the president's involvement on the said disappearance. Nicholas defends the president like he knows him just like he knows the back of his palm. After listening to all this, Mr. Stone asked him to explain the whereabouts of the health minister, Jonah Waswa. Nicholas was confused. Then, Mr. Stone invites Nicholas to join him and the author of the article he read to shed more light on the matter. In order to clear his doubts, Nicholas went to the Minister of Health's office and realized Jonah wasn't there. He had been replaced. He went to the meeting Mr. Stone invited him to. He was told Jonah was sealing a major pharmaceutical deal which will be of good to the country at the Holiday Inn. When Nicholas saw him, Nicholas realized he had been wrong about Jonah, and it was that moment he knew he had fucked up. Nicholas wanted to leave the country when he couldn't bear the guilt anymore. Out of courtesy, he informed the president, but Amin refused to let him go. The president threw a party, but Nicholas wasn't feeling it. He wanted to clear his head, went to the bar and started drinking. He became drunk. Kay meets Nicholas at the bar, then they snuck out of the party and hooked up. When he got home, he found his apartment disorganized and his British passport missing. Then he found an Ugandan passport made for him on the table. It was clear that the president wouldn't let him go. He was stranded and went to Stone for help with another British passport. Stone showed him pictures of Ugandans Amin killed, including Jonah, and the terrible things Amin had done.
Langi tribesmen from the army. These are leaving.
He agreed to help him if only he can help the British government to take out Amin. While all this drama was still going on, Nicholas was still hooking up with Kay. Amin expelled all Asians and gave them 90 days to leave the country. As his closest advisor, Nicholas advised him against the expulsion, but he refused. Nicholas was tired, and to make matters worse, Kay told him she was pregnant. She was so scared of what Amin will do when he finds out. Nicholas looked for a way he can bring her to the hospital and abort the pregnancy and asked Dr. Junju for help, but he refused. The president was mad about what the British were saying about him and asked Nicholas for advice. Nicholas said he should hold a press conference and clear the air about the news. He told Nicholas to stay for the conference, which made him not to execute his plan on helping Kay. By the time he got to her house, he was told she went to the village for help and got caught by the president. Unfortunately, the president had killed Kay and butchered her body. Seeing how the president treated Kay, this filled Nicholas' heart with anger, which made him determined to kill the president. He gave Amin poison in disguise of pills for the headache Amin had had earlier on. Masanga was suspicious of those pills and decides to test them on one of the soldiers. This exposes the fact that Nicholas wanted to kill the president. In order to punish him, Amin ordered his men to hang Nicholas by his skin for trying to kill him and sleeping with his wife. Dr. Junjun watched the whole event from a corner. The Israeli government negotiated with Amin, which led him to expel only non-Israeli hostages and arranged for a plane for them to be taken out of the country. After a while, Amin's men brought Nicholas down, left him on the floor, and went on a break, thinking he won't escape. Dr. Junju used this opportunity to bandage Nicholas' wounds quickly and sneaks him among the hostages leaving Uganda. By the time Amin's men came back, they couldn't find Nicholas and searched the whole building. Basanga suspects Dr. Junju for helping him and knowing his whereabouts, then kills him since he refused to talk. The president was informed about Nicholas' escape, but before he could do anything, Nicholas was long gone in a plane. Nicholas remembered his time in Uganda and was glad he escaped. And there you have it, guys, a condensed recap of the historical drama The Last King of Scotland.